Hello, hello. Well, my name is Cheryl Meyer, and I'm known as Cheryl Health Muse. Why am I a health muse? Because I want to inspire all of you to clean up and live a healthier life. And as part of that, I want to be Wonder Woman. So I'm going to put these on and become her. Why do I want to be Wonder Woman? Because Wonder Woman has the same two nemesis that I talk about. She's fighting Dr. Poison and the Duke of Deception. And that's who I'm going to talk to you about today, because they're lurking in your life. They were lurking in mine far more than I had any idea. And so to understand why I'm so passionate about this, I'm going to go back a little bit and tell you my story, and then I'm going to tell you why this is important to you. I've been an entrepreneur for the last 25 years. I've had my own jewelry business, and 7 years ago, I woke up and everything in my body hurt. Every bone, every muscle, everything. So what did I do? I went to the doctor. She ran a lot of tests. I went back. She ran a lot more. I went back again. She ran a lot more. Finally, she called me and said, I'm going to give you steroids, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with you, and I suggest you seek therapy. I said, okay, I got news for you. I hurt. So something is wrong with me. So I was lucky. I had a staff. I turned my business over to them, and I started to research. And I tripped into what's called the functional medical community, and they were running all kinds of symposiums, and I listened to 19 of them in a row. One was on the brain, one was on the adrenals, one was on the liver, one was on the gut, one was on the lower gut, one was on skin. I listened to them all. It's all about something called leaky gut. Has anybody heard of leaky gut? Well, I started thinking maybe I had leaky gut, and maybe I had autoimmune disease. So what could I do about these things on my own? There were two things I figured out I could do. I could eliminate toxins from my life, and I could lower my stress. So I started with stress. Always knew I had stress. Made me get more done for my job. So I was perpetually being chased by a tiger, which ended up not being a very good thing, because being chased by a tiger 24/7 meant I had no cortisol left in my body at all and was on the point of going into Addison's disease. So I was chronically fatigued all the time. So I got some exercises. I do them faithfully to this day, and that reduced my stress. But then I dug into toxins, and I was appalled. Absolutely everything I was using in my life was loaded with toxins. My expensive French cosmetics were a 9 on a 10-point scale. Food, I had no idea. I didn't really understand GMOs and why it was so important to eat organic. And you start to study it. GMOs, they're actually putting Bt toxin into the plant. That's so that when the bug eats it, it blows up its stomach, but it's also blowing up your gut bacteria. There were toxins in my meat. There were toxins in my canned goods. Lord knows there are toxins in our processed food and our fast food. They're loaded with synthetic ingredients, which means that when you eat them, you're getting no nutrition at all. And then I started on the rest of my life, on the cosmetics, on the over-the-counter drugs. I was allergic to aspirin, so I took Tylenol all my life. Guess where I was weak? I was weak in my liver. But if you're taking the other ones, you're taking the aspirin, the Advil, or the ibuprofen, or the Aleve, you're ruining your gut. I got into what I was cooking my food on and what I was storing it in. I got into my water coming out of my tap. You think Flint, Michigan is unusual? Think again. There are pharmaceuticals, there's arsenic, there is all the herbicides and pesticides that are being sprayed all over our food. They're all in our water because they're going down into our groundwater and then off into our streams and our rivers and coming out of our tap. And then I got into cleaning supplies. Oh my God, they're loaded with toxic chemicals that are going right through our skin, right into our lungs, and poisoning us. So I systematically started to remove them one at a time until literally I had removed hundreds. And while I was doing that, I found a functional doctor of my own. The difference is they do root cause medicine, where they look at the whole body. And so between what I was doing, eliminating the toxins, and what she was doing, which were totally different tests than my conventional doctor, I tease her that I'm an onion, and we keep peeling the onion and finding different things wrong with my body underneath. But between the two of us, 5 years, and I was functioning better than I was in my 50s. So I do have autoimmune disease. I will always have autoimmune disease, but I no longer have pain. And I decided everybody needed to know this. So at 67, I went back to school, I became a health coach, and I wrote my book, which is the manual I wish I had had when I got sick. And it's called It Feels Good to Feel Good, because when you lose your health, you really enjoy the fact that you're feeling good again. Learn to eliminate toxins, reduce inflammation, and feel great again. And in the last year, I have spoken on 80 podcasts as a guest because I want to get this message out to everybody. So that's fine. That's my story. What does this mean to you? I want to give you a couple statistics. I'm going to take the sunglasses off because now you know where these two nefarious dudes are lurking in your life. And so I don't have herb powers. The power I do have is the ability to have you want to own your own life and clean up your toxic load before you top over the top. So we're going to take these off so I can explain more about that. Why should you pay attention to what I have to say? Because if you're a mom or a parent, 53% of our children now have some kind of chronic illness. 53%. If you want to have a baby, our babies are all popping out with a significant toxic load right from the beginning. And it doesn't take long before that toxic load pops over the top and becomes one of those 53% of our kids. If you're a millennial, the new statistic is you're going to get to 27 and then your health is going to start to decline. If you're Gen X, you get a little more time. You can make it all the way to 37. That's god-awful. And if you're a boomer, you're already leading a life of pain and pills. And you think that that's normal, and you're accepting it. So the first thing I want to ask you to do is own your own health, and don't just accept that that's the life you have to accept, because it's not. I was not going to live that life, and I proved that it can be done. And the other thing I discovered was the universe had been telling me for some time that my toxic load was growing. I just wasn't paying attention. I got the little poke in the shoulder, then I got the NCIS slap, and finally, the 2x4 came down on my head. It just went past my brain so quick, I didn't stop to think about it. And so I want to ask you all right now to go into your body and ask yourself, how do you feel? Because unless you start nodding in with your body on a regular basis, you're going to miss it too. And there are hidden signs that your inflammation is growing and that your toxic load is growing. Do you have pain? Are you feeling lousy all the time? Are you taking a lot of over-the-counter medication? Are you getting more and more colds and flus? Are you having a problem with your skin? Eczema, psoriasis, and acne are all an inside job. Are you having a lot of agita? That's what my family called stomach upset. I used to have horrible agita. I don't have any anymore. Are you having problems with constipation? I know we're not supposed to talk about that, but that's inflammation, as is the opposite end of that. All of these things are signs of inflammation, right down to your joints hurt, your muscles hurt, you've got brain fog, you wake up in the morning more tired than when you went to bed. How many cups of coffee has it taken you before you can get yourself ready to go for the day? And my big one that I missed, I used to joke about it. There were days I looked in the mirror and I looked good, and there were days I looked in the mirror and I was all puffy. Guess what? That was inflammation. So there's signs that your body is talking to you, and I want you to tune in, I want you to listen to it. And then I want you to start to eat real food. There are lots of places to stop. There's 29 chapters in my book, and each one handles a different subject. But start with food, because if you start eating real food from a farm as close to you as possible, and you start eating all the colors of the rainbow, and then you tune in with your body's going to start to sing. And you're going to feel the difference. And when you feel the difference, you're going to want to keep doing it. And you're going to cook. And you're going to stop eating processed food and fast food, because the body is garbage in, garbage out. So if you're eating all that crud and you're not eating real food, your body's going to yell at you. And if you start eating real food, preferably organic, I'm a huge believer in organic, then your body's going to start to sing. And why is organic important? Because sides are sprayed on conventional produce. And do you know what side means? It means it kills something. So if it's a herbicide or it's a pesticide, it's a poison that you're putting in your body, and it's going to kill you eventually. And the good old big companies of the world are telling you you can actually drink that stuff and you're going to be fine. You can't drink that stuff and be fine. And there have been some landmark lawsuits, one recently, where it's suddenly the truth is coming out that they have known that glyphosate, which is Roundup, which is sprayed everywhere. It's on our food, it's on our school lawns, it's on our public places, it's everywhere. They've known for 25 years it causes cancer. So I don't want that in my body, and you shouldn't either. But it's being sprayed on a lot of your conventional produce. So clean it up and eat organic. Because if you do all of this, you don't have to be one of those statistics. You can come out the other end and feel great. So if I've gotten your interest, where do you go from here? You can read my book. I tell you exactly where I researched, what I found, and what I replaced it with. And if you buy my book, I give you a workbook so you can record it. When you run out of the old item, you replace it with the new one. It's not overwhelming. It's something that took me 5 years to do, and you can do it too. You go to my website, I have a free 1-hour video you can go to the Wellness Universe and watch. I have a 5-part class called Food Quality Matters, which I charge you for, but it goes in depth into each aspect of your food and what it is and what you need to know, because Dr. Poison and the Duke of Deception have been telling us bullshit for all the years we've been alive, and it's time to clean it up. And then start thinking about your water. I put a system on my water right away so that I can not use plastic, which is leaching chemicals into my water. I get it right out of my filtered water system in my house, and I carry it in stainless steel bottles, because plastic bottles cost you 2,200 times more and are putting poison in the water, and it's less regulated than what's coming out of your tap. Isn't that ducky? And then it's got little microbes of plastic running around in it, so it's like a double poison. So you need to start taking responsibility for what you're putting in your bodies and your children are putting into theirs. It is an inconvenient truth that you're going to do all this stuff, to coin a phrase. It's not easy to live this way because you're going to swim upstream and you're going to eat different than everybody else in your life. But it's doable, and I am living proof. You just have to plan a little different. And you have to call a restaurant and see how far they're willing to go to get your business. And trust me, they want your business. I have 18 food sensitivities. I am not easy to feed, but restaurants bend over backwards to try to be able to find something they can do for me. So if you decide that your body is important and your health is important, it's not impossible to do, and your body's going to celebrate each and every step of the way. So I want you all to start to rethink how you're doing this, because how you feel when you're my age, and I just turned 70, depends upon what you do today. Thank you. If you would.